Hey, it's me, me, the guys with the five eyes that you see. And today we are going to be talking about we're going to talk about more cycles in the black community, and I want to talk about the parenting cycle that we've got going on in the black community. So today we're going to be talking about the guy with the .13 GPA who's at the top half of his class in Baltimore, and we're also going to be talking about the discussing some of the chicks that have been sleeping out in their cars in U-Hauls in Atlanta just for the All-Star game and everything, and how this all relates to each other that keeps black people in the malaise that they are in right now. So, um, so in this article, as I said, there's a Baltimore high school student who failed all but 3 classes over 4 years, but is in the top half of his class. Um, and that page basically tells you all he needs to know. He basically went to the school called Augusta Fells Savage Institute of Visual Arts. That's such a stupid name. That's so long. Who wants to say that shit? And this is his mom right here. And she's like, he's stressed. I am too. I told him I'm probably going to start crying. Basically, this is the world's worst mother. Lady, you are a horrible mother. Tiffany France, you're a horrible mother. You want to know why? Check this out, y'all. She has 3 kids, but guess what? She works 3 jobs. Now, that basically lets you know why he was able to skip so many days of school. They said he was absent 272 days over his first 3 years, right? She works 3 jobs and she has 3 kids. She has too many kids and too many jobs to really do anything. Honestly, this woman's living life with no purpose. She's basically a walking zombie. I gotta really go hard on her because she's a disgusting woman. And the reason why I keep saying that is because she in the interview they gave her, she keeps saying it's the school's fault. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. They need to help them. They what? But look at here, y'all. Look at the screen cap here. This nigga playing 2K. This nigga playing 2K on his phone, right? And it just goes to show you what a careless mother she is because she's too tired working all the time and taking care of the other 2 children, which I had to assume are either around his age or younger, you know. And listen, if I failed in school, I'm not playing 2K. I'm not being on my phone. I'm probably not even sleeping in my own bed if I failed that many days of school. I'd probably be sleeping on the couch, to be really honest with you. Probably in a doghouse. You know why? Because my parents actually care. And school is not that hard. The reason he failed so much is because he didn't show up. Like, I think I saw in there one of his classes, he had a 67. And it's an art class. And to me, I've always found art classes a bit harder than English because like I know you gotta do papers for English and all, but art class, like even if you can't draw, you can pass and stuff. That's good, but sometimes you do have specific projects, and it's just like you have to develop like yourself into some sort of skill with what you're doing. Like it does require like a method to the madness. He could actually easily pass school, but he's an idiot though, because he would just rather stay out all day doing what? Nothing. If any of you guys have watched The Wire, there was a specific scene in season 1 that really struck a chord with me, and also proved why that show was so great. It was when Michael B. Jordan, and you know how Michael B. and those kids, and they still do now up in Baltimore, they stay in abandoned houses, right? These dudes were making sure the little kids, right? These little first, third, second, fifth, fourth graders, right? Were going to school on time in the morning. They even packed up their lunches. All of that. And that really just goes to show you, like, it's crazy. Like some display of that. That's just so underrated. You literally got these teenagers taking care of these children, making sure they got something to eat in the morning. You know, getting them in line to school, walking them to school, single file, all of that. It just really goes to show, like, in the black community, this matriarchy just doesn't work. Cause see, the issue is, like, I know a lot of these women probably do love their children, and they want the best for their children. Ideally, though, mentally they don't, because they have these children in these horrible environments, and because they're so poor, which people don't like to acknowledge, but when you have kids, they cost. So if you're poor, you're going to be poorer because you can't even put money towards yourself is towards the kid, and the only thing the kid does is consume. So you're going to be poor. So they have to keep working. But because they work so much, a lot of times these women can't even take care of the kids. And it's insanity at this point, because now you're not even taking care of the kid, but you're working so much to take care of the kid, but you're not taking care of the kid no matter how much you work. There's no point in even having a kid, but you keep expecting the kids to just go to school and then their life is saved. At the way you raise them, even if they go to school, nothing's going to happen. And she likes to blame the school system, and I will agree, the school system deserves blame, because you just have to be more proactive with your students. Like but actually no, I can't really do, no, because again, he missed 272 days, right? And she's working a lot of jobs. They probably let her know, hey, your student's not coming to school. But you also have to understand that because he's in the top whatever 50th percentile, whatever his school, probably the 40th, 30th, that means the other students are doing that. When you have that many students leaving school, you can't do nothing about it as a school. You can't just go out there and find them. The most you can do is talk to their parents. But hey, this lady got 3 jobs. She probably not at home. She probably not gonna pick up her phone. She probably don't even know what the school's number is because she's so busy. She probably thinks it's a spam, you know. And the fact is, if you miss that many days of school, even if you're working 3 jobs as a mom, you should probably figure out, like, you should probably come home one day and be like, Mom, why is my son not here? At least a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to be honest, the way this mother is, how lackadaisical she is, I'd probably do that too if I was him. Because it's like, your mom always sleep or going out. She probably go out to work in the morning. I'm probably going to stay home. And then when she gets back, yeah, man, school was kind of good. Because she probably didn't get back till like 11 o'clock. You know? Saying that it was their fault. And I probably should have been reading this, but there really wasn't much to read, because she just gives excuses, and she's like, I'm just assuming that you're passing. You have the proper things to do to go on the right grade and the right next grade and the right grades. You have the right credits. I feel like they never gave my son an opportunity. Like, if there was an issue with him not advancing or progressing, they should have contacted me first 3 years ago. And I also will say, they shouldn't be passing him if he's not passing his classes. But I guess they're trying to make quotas. But that's on them. The school, you definitely should have just had this nigga, like, they definitely should have just, like, let them know for sure, like, okay, he isn't passing his classes. He can't move up. So that's messed up. But again, lady, your son was not coming to school, and that's definitely on you, you know, because that's something you can handle. They can't handle that. And again, this dude's easily playing 2K, not doing nothing, sitting just chilling on his phone. I get angry. There's nothing but frustration. Oh, this is like one of the administrators on the public schools, right? There's nothing but frustration. We see on the news that crime occurs, the murders, the shootings. We know there are high levels of poverty in Baltimore. Things like this are adding to that. His transcript is not unusual to me. I've seen many transcripts, many report cards, like, particular. And this is what we gotta stop doing as a people. Like, in the cities where we have very, very bad, like, public schools, the main reason most of those public schools are bad are for 2 reasons. Well, for one, you've got a bunch of administrators and teachers that don't really care too much, you know. They kind of just there because someone's got to do the job, really. But 2, you have these armies. These are not even communities. These armies of men and women that produce children in environments where school is either meaningless or it's an afterthought. It's too many of these children in these ghettos and hoods going through hell from the moment they're born. You can't. What does school really mean in that environment? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a third world country in these places. It's third world country in these places. I know here in Jacksonville, I go to some parts of Moncrief or the east side, rundown buildings, super old buildings, they ain't getting no updates. You know, you just think to yourself, all the old people that own these buildings, it's only a matter of time before the white people move back in, because you can tell they ain't got nobody pass on these houses to, or the people they would aren't going to keep it up, or, you know. they're just horrible and dilapidated. You know, the grass is never cut or resodded. Um, Other buildings just boarded up, dusty cars and dogs walking everywhere. You know, it's almost like going to a third world country with more electricity and internet than most of those third world countries. You know, um, the school, even if these people on the school boards wanted to help these kids, they can't because their parents either hate their children, don't care about their children, or they love them insanely, which by they keep thinking they're doing right for their children, but they aren't. And at the core of this is black women, but I won't let black men be absent from that because it takes two to tango. See, the issue we've got here is we have a subsect of black men who are acting purely primally. They can't control their penises. You know, like if you want to have sex, right? Like these dudes want to have sex. They'll have sex with mostly anybody who looks decent enough. And the thing I don't get is like in this era of birth control and condoms, like I even understand. Okay, you don't want to use the condom. Then the women should have some form of birth control, whether it's the pill, the after morning pill, the shot injection. They need something. But it's weird enough. These dudes, it's almost like they want to get these chicks pregnant, you know. But the thing is, I understand why they don't think that way. Cause I'm gonna just be honest. I think there are a lot of kids that are mentally like slow in the black community. They have this like when you talk to a lot of ghetto people, they talk very loudly. Oop, I gotta pause that. They talk very loudly. They repeat the same things over and over again. They be like, "Yeah, bro, that's what I told her, bro. Yeah, bro, that's what I told her, bro. I told her, bro. I told her, bro, like that, like saying over and over and over again. You know, if you listen to the music, it's very juvenile. They have these like in the beats. They love playing these little Jesus, that dog. They love playing these little keys that sound like there's something to a nursery song, and they love talking like this. Like it's the weirdest thing. Oh, come on. It's the weirdest thing. And oh, excuse me for a moment. The dog is kind of depressed. He gets left out alone a lot, so he cries. So let me take this to the bathroom so I don't have to deal with that. Okay, great. All right. Now back to what I was talking about. But yeah, you listen to the music. It's a lot of chanting and saying again the same things over again. Like you talk to a lot of these black men and women, and they sound like children when they're like in their 20s and 30s. They just have this aura about them that they don't have the right development, and they don't. Like a lot of studies show that like a lot of poor children. Well, actually, you don't even need studies. It's common sense. Poor children don't get fed as well, and they don't grow up in good neighborhoods at all and stuff. That affects their physical development, which affects their mental development, and then they see all these traumatic stress inducing things in their life, so that also affects their mental development. It's very hard for them to get out of their childish phase because physically they're becoming an adult, but a lot of times they're malnutrition, and a lot of times they don't have the lessons and attention needed for children to become proper adults, you know. And this kid is kind of the same way he looks. It's just the aura about him kind of lets you know from his mother he's probably not growing up at all. He's stuck in this stage of just like like for example, I asked like someone I know, I asked their brother, "Do you have any hobbies?" And he straight up told me no. You know, he just plays sports and granted, this is a good kid, so it's not like I don't think he's retarded at all. He's not like on that level, but he's a step above or two because he listens to that music, he hangs out with them kind of people, and he has a little bit of that aura about him, you know. But imagine like all these kids, they have no hobbies. They don't really even when they do have hobbies, they can't tell you because they can't communicate it because they don't think for themselves about nothing. You know, that's like the worst part about it. So now, let's see. I don't know what this is. I looked up a couple stats right here. about Baltimore. In this article, Baltimore City's failing its children. If you look here in 4th and 8th grade reading, only 13% of city students are considered proficient. In 4th grade math, only 14% are proficient. 8th grade, only 11%, putting Baltimore ahead of only Detroit and Cleveland. Also, two places where black people really can't get ahead, and there's also nothing there for them to really build on. Cleveland more so than Detroit, and I would say Baltimore more so than both, only because you have the actual DMV under Baltimore, so there's somewhere to go. But at the same time, the DMV is prohibitively expensive in most of those areas for black people to go. So that's the biggest caveat with that. But there's more opportunity in Baltimore for sure. And 1/3 of Baltimore high schools in 2016 had 0 students proficient in math. And the funny thing is, they probably are, but they just aren't trying. And when you think about these kind of statistics, you come to the conclusion, the very solemn conclusion, that there are big subsects of black people in a lot of these cities that will not make it. And I've said before in previous videos, I don't associate myself with these kind of black people at all. Like, when I call myself black, it's not black in a way where, like, dudes in the hood, for the most part. I got family that's in the hood and everything, but even my family, they're productive. The dudes that be on, like, that smoke way too much weed, all them blunts, and do all them crimes and stuff like that. I don't know those dudes. I couldn't tell you their name if I looked them in the face and was, like, playing 2K with them for 12 years. I just don't know them people. I don't associate with them. They're not black to me. I don't even consider them black. At this point, they just want to be untouchables. It's hard to say these things, but we've got black people out here that there's no point to their existence. There really isn't, because they want to keep themselves in this huge, inescapable cycle of poverty because they just cannot stop having sex. That's really what it comes down to. It's the saddest thing. They want to be wild animals. And again, I'm talking about this very specific group of black men and women. Because the thing is, at least half of this stuff would be over today if they'd had some dick control. If the guys just stopped to themselves and thought, you know what? Sex is good, but why do I want this bad? And there's and to be honest, it's crazy. There are so many toys out there for dudes. We always talk about toys for women. There's a lot of toys out there for dudes that feel crazy. I'm not going to get too into it, but look up what a Tinga egg is. Look up a Tinga egg 6-pack. I can vouch for it. When I was going through my dry spell, I decided to take it upon myself. I was like, if I'm not going to get any, maybe I shouldn't be trying so much. Why do I want it so much? If I really had this urge, let me go get something that really knocks the feeling. And the thing is, it just feels different. It's something totally new. You don't have to get hoes. You don't have to get bitches, dog. It's not that important. All they do is take your money and your time, and they don't stick around. You're literally just wasting time. If you're just gonna fuck a chick and she's gone the next day, why? And then you get her pregnant and she'll never leave. Why? Just get a toy, dog. You're using the bitch as a toy. And for the women, come on. You don't even be wanting to fuck most of these dudes. You just feel like some kind of obligation because he's funny. Like, you just gotta give it up. Literally. These black people stop having kids. You stop having kids, and then after that, you don't have the responsibility of raising these kids under these stressful conditions. So you have more time and money for yourself. But at the same time, biologically, it's harder on the women than for men in that situation because they only got so long to have kids. But again, hey, that's just a consequence, man. Hey, you didn't do what you had to do. Look at the animal kingdom. You don't do what you need to do properly, you ain't having kids. And that goes for males for the most part out there. There are plenty of animal species where only one male gets to mate when there's like 50 females. The other males, they just die. They don't have no kids. They get eaten. Before they reproduce, they don't have no kids. Okay? And now we're going to look at here. And I made sure to pause this so I don't get like a copyright strike. But this is the video of some young people for the All-Star game, they went to Atlanta and they rented a U-Haul truck because they could not find a hotel room that wasn't booked. And like, look at them, you know. And see, on one hand, renting a U-Haul when you can't find the hotel bookings and stuff, that's some young people stuff. Like, I would do that depending on where it was. Probably because it's a unique experience, or getting the kind of rent a van that you can sleep in or something. But see, I wouldn't do that for no All-Star game because if you look at how this chick is, these chicks are trying to get it popping for the All-Star game and get some All-Star players, right? Because apparently there's a lot of girls sleeping in their cars going to there for this All-Star game. And I even forgot to look up the Atlanta traffic that they're having out there. And let me see if I can find that really quick. All-Star game traffic Atlanta. Let's look. Okay, rash of violence. I don't know if I find it here. Maybe I got it here. But let's see. Oh yeah, this is brunch. People trying to go in for brunch. That's a line. There ain't really much to see there. Let me make sure I don't got my. Oh. Okay, so you see, that's basically all them chicks. Literally, them chicks that like are sleeping in their cars and stuff like that. That's all they came to really do is to be in the club while everyone's standing around, doing nothing. And causing a lot of traffic going to the mall in Atlanta. That's where you see the malaise on full display in the black community. We have these kids that we can't afford to raise. Some of us overwork ourselves, mostly the women. A lot of us don't. Some of us don't try, mostly the men, and also mostly the women because they drive a lot of the men away. These kids don't go to school, or they go to school and not caring. They don't really think about much in their lives. The only thing they know how to do is to have fun, which is basically fucking, drinking, and smoking. And then they grow up with that mindset, and that's how they end up going to like clubs like these. Come on, y'all. Look at that. That's crazy. That's it. That's the malaise of the black community on full display. Mindless zombies. That only thing they know how to do is stand around each other like some sardines, fuck each other, and beat each other up and shoot each other and yell at each other. That's like the only thing they know how to do. That's the only thing going for them in their lives. They live like wild animals because that's how a wild animal lives. Gets up, thinks of really nothing. Just go out there just reacting to everything. Having sex, shitting, pooping, sleeping, peeing, maybe doing something that looks different, and then going back to fucking and stuff, and then they die. That's like all these black people are doing. There's so much to do in this world. There's so much to do, even in your city, even if it's a bad city. There's just other things you could be doing. And the thing is, it's such a hard, complicated situation. Because the thing that scares me is these black people reproduce like crazy. Like basically in other groups in this country, I think a lot, mostly white people, but even Asian, Latin Americans, I think Latin Americans' populations have gone up. But white people make up the majority of this country. And their populations, their birth rate has actually been going down, right? Black people has remained consistent. And it's crazy because they've done everything. They've given us birth control. They kill us through police, army, riots, all of that. But especially birth control. Literally, you cannot stop black people. At this point, you can't even genetically have us at this point. Because they tried with birth control. They failed. You want to know how they failed? Because we've had like millions upon millions upon millions. I don't know what the number is, but it's over 10 million. I don't think it's higher than 60 million, but over 10 million babies have been aborted since like the 70s till now. Babies, abortions, tens of millions Many people consider that a genocide. Guess what? Our numbers are basically the same because literally every dude that dies or something, it's like 3 babies pop up in his place. It's ridiculous. It's like and again, she says she has 3 children. The lady we were talking about, 3 children for no reason. Where there's no man in sight. So these women literally reproduce like they're kittens or dogs. That's why people call them bitches. I mean, they literally reproduce like they are. The lady that had gorilla glue stuck in her hair, she has 5 children. These women are bitches because they reproduce like bitches. That's no joke. Why do you think we call them that? That's the truth. And it's scary. It's a very, very scary thing that we have going on. Because it's just like these people really aren't going anywhere. Now, I will say I'm not saying I wish these people's populations were dropping stuff. I don't wish death on these people or the kids or at all. But I do wish that they would stop reproducing so much or like irresponsibly. It's just a matter of fact in life. If you reproduce and give your kid a worse life, you're a bad person. If you do it knowing that you've given them a worse life. And these people are bad people because they're in these situations in life where they know that because they had the kids on accident. So they only plan the child and they're in a horrible situation. They're bad people because that's a child. That's a kid. That's unfair to them. You just throw them out in life like that because now they just don't know what they're doing and then they're going to be just like you. And they're going to do it to another kid. And then that's your legacy, just getting worse and worse and worse. Especially in this country. You're lucky enough to even be in America. I know America is going through a lot of things financially these days, but I mean, still. So getting close to 30 minutes, I think I'm going to get kind of like to the end of this. So my final point is that black people are stuck in this cycle of irresponsibility because the men value sex way too much and they feel like they need to have it and they don't look up any alternatives to keep themselves to themselves because the thing is the women know this and they use it against the men and both of them really kind of have sex and don't think about the consequences. They just assume because the thing is, hey, check it. To get pregnant, you do have to usually you gotta do it a couple times. Usually more often than not, you're probably not gonna get pregnant on your first time, even if you do nut in a chick. So they have sex a lot and they don't usually get pregnant the first time. Maybe not even up to the 10th time. So they just feel like they can keep doing it. They're doing all right. And then they get pregnant. And they don't expect it. But even in the hood, a lot of times for the most part, dudes actually are with their children, though. Don't get it twisted. Just because a lot are irresponsible don't mean most aren't. But even if they're responsible, they're still immature. You got a child raising a child, essentially. And when you had people like that basically not really caring about their life or their child's life, no one cares about each other's life that much, and you end up with these kind of neighborhoods where there's a lot of gun violence and there's a lot of underage pregnancies, honestly probably a lot of rape that we don't know about, what's it called, statutory
Small
rape.
business insurance is
Oh my goodness.
so complicated you need to be a lawyer to understand it. That's why 3 was created. If you own it,
Okay,
3
stop.
covers it.
Oh my goodness.
That's me. I don't even need to see what's happening behind me to know it's covered. 3. No nonsense, just common sense.
Okay. Isn't that funny? Completely distracted me what I was just saying. Yeah. And so when it comes to school, that's an afterthought. That doesn't really matter. No one really bothers going to school, does anything at school. They want to go turn up. That's all they ever think about is turning up because that's the only thing that feels good because these people don't know how to delay their satisfaction. They just need to feel good because they're kids. That's all kids want to do is feel good and do fun things. And they just do that. They do that for the rest of their lives, rinse and repeat. There's no breaking this cycle, okay? There's 2 kinds of black people. There are black people that are going to progress and there are black people that we'll talk about in the annals of history. These black people will turn themselves into the untouchable class in America. They're going to be the poorest people the first world countries have ever known. They're going to be so poor that when America turns itself into basically a second world country, they're going to be out there on the outskirts. Because hey, like I said a little bit, I went over. There are a lot of older black folks with a lot of housing out here, and they don't have nobody to pass it down to, or nobody they really trust to pass it down to. Eventually, the cities are going to take them houses, or white people are going to move in. They're going to raise the cost. It's basic gentrification, but I feel like it's different this time because the black people, there's going to be no resistance. There's no, they're not turning over ownership. So when they get moved out this time, white people aren't just going to move in and then kind of move out and black people move back in. No, they're going to move in, and that's going to be it. And they're going to get pushed further and further out of the city or out of these location hubs, wherever they are. And they're just going to be on the outskirts everywhere they go. And then they're going to be even worse conditions until it gets to a point where, I don't know, maybe they'll want to turn it around and just get out of their own malaise. But at this point, it's a cyclical thing, as I've said. They don't want to get out of it. They're not going to work for it. If you're a black person and you're listening to this, I may not go over things the best way, but hopefully I just kind of open up your eyes to the fact that you got to stop being so hopeful for people that have no hope. You got to be more hopeful for yourself. You got to do things for you and your family. And if there are people that that aren't trying to progress and do better, and you can't help them, understand truly, if you can't help them, that's just too bad. That's on them. You got to move on, though, because that's what you're doing right now. You're moving on. You're not being like them and staying still and staying in the malaise, the trap cycle of fucking partying, drinking, smoking, chilling. That's not you, And you don't want to be like that because you will get left behind. Anyways, that's today's video. Can't wait to give you guys something a little bit more upbeat next, but I don't know. Times is looking really rough out here.